Alright guys, I'm pretty close to having this all sanded down up here. As you can see, it's taking real nice shape. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is, as you're sanding this thing, I went ahead and put a sanding block, just an old piece of wood, wrapped it around my sandpaper. But as you're sanding this thing, continuously lay your block to the side and get around that divot, you know, nice and clean all the way around it. Try and keep everything nice and cleaned up on it, as you can see. And just keep working it till you get it down to where you like it. And then once you get it down to the thickness that you like, then you're done with this part of it. Me, I like these handles to be just comfortable enough to hold on to it to where it's not real small, it's not real big. We just continue on. You guys have seen me do this throughout the whole thing. You know, and you want to continuously keep this squared up around here. Keep any, see, I got a little chunk right there that needs to be sanded out. So I'll take and use the edge of my sandpaper and my block and sand that out real good. See, it's coming right off. That 150 grit sandpaper takes her down pretty quick, especially with this being pine. Now you can make this out of any kind of wood that you want. Pine is just a real simple wood to work with. Takes a really nice stain, and when you're done with it, it's lightweight. It's not going to be real heavy in your hands. And there we go. Got her all done all the way around. Now we're going to start rounding off this top piece. And for that, we put her back in the old jig, and we go back to our fine rasp, the one that we used earlier, and you just knock these corners off. And this is something that's, you know, it's going to take you a little bit of time. You're not going to get it all done real fast, but just work with it slow, you know, and just keep going at it. Now, if you don't want to use the rasp, you can always use the sandpaper. Just the rasp seems to take wood off pretty quick for me. And you just keep on working it all the way around. You know, if you hit a little lick and you get out of adjustment a little bit, it's all right. You can come back, being it sand, you know, with your sandpaper, and clean it all up. But as you can see, guys, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. It's just manipulating the wood to a shape that you want. And if you just take your time with it and don't rush it, it'll turn out to be a really nice piece when you're done with it. And like I said, you just keep turning it as you're working it. As you can see, that handle is really starting to take shape. I'll show you this, just a little bit of time I've been messing with this, what we got going on there. As you can see, it's really to start rounding. Alright guys, I'm going to pause you here while you work on that, and I'll get back to you shortly with the next step. Okay guys, now that I've got the basic shape of my handle rounded on the top, I'm going to go ahead and put her back in the vise, and this is where I'm going to take my sandpaper and clean it all up, smooth it all out, blend it all in. Pull this up a little bit where I can see a little better. Now this part here, guys, it's all just rounding and smoothing by hand. You know, if you don't want to use the block, you can take the block off and, you know, sand by hand. Just whichever's comfortable with for you. Like I said, this ain't rocket science. It's just manipulating wood to come out to the shape you want it. You don't have to be a PhD in any kind of science or anything to make one of these. It's a pretty simple, pretty easy process. Just the more time you put into it and pay attention, the better the outcome's gonna be. Alright guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the handle. You guys have seen what I'm doing here. You know how I'm going with it, so you guys can go ahead and pause here and finish up on what you're doing, and then come back to the next step later. Hey guys, Coop here. Now, we've got the handle part of it semi-smoothed out. It's not completely done, but we've got it down pretty good now. So on this part of it, we're going to go ahead and start cleaning up the rest of it with our sandpaper. And you can start out with whatever you want. You basically just wanting to get this whole surface pretty smooth. So I'm going to reach over here and see what I got for sandpaper. And I'm going to grab this here 100 grit. That should be just plenty, you know, just good enough. I'm going to put my sanding block, put it around my sanding block, and I'm going to go to town. And it doesn't take much to do this. You just basically, you know, going back and forth till you get it down nice and smooth. And I'm not going to bore you guys with all this. You get the idea. You see where I'm going, what direction I'm going in. And I like using the sanding block because it keeps everything nice and even. And I'll come back and hit these sides later with another piece of sandpaper to where it'll stay rounded a little bit. But you guys go ahead and take time and finish sanding up your whole all four of your sides, and then we'll get back to the next step. And the next step will be coming down on the handle in the next step, and I'll be showing you how to blend this all in to the handle material of it, the handle part of it. Alright guys, you go ahead and do your sanding, and I'll see you in a little while.